Here's the original post www.reddit.com web link. So here is a quick update, since the situation has been resolved. When my husband got home, I told him what happened and showed him the video. He asked if I spoke with my bill and I said no, all my conversations were with my sister. He said that he will take care of it. Now, a disclaimer, I understand nothing when it comes to insurance claims, and this is what my husband told me. I understood happened. My husband talked with my bill, told him exactly what happened and showed him the prank video. Then he told him that the code was insured, we will be filing a claim and submitting the video, and we might have to file charges for the claim. He assured him that we would be dropping the charges, we do not want to send niece to jail. Then he told him that one of two things might happen: after our insurance pays us, they will come after them. If their insurance pays, their premium will skyrocket. If it doesn't, they might sue them, and might get a lien on their house. My bill asked if there was a way he could pay us without involving insurance. My husband told him that that was what we wanted at first, but that my sister insisted that they will not be paying us back. Apparently, my bill was not in the know, and he was very pissed off at what my niece did, and my sister's response. So they came to this solution: my niece's car will be sold, and if it doesn't fetch the whole compensation money, she will have to get a job and pay me the whole check out. It is paid off. Also, she is grounded for the rest of the school year. I am thankful for the people who encouraged me to talk with my husband. I, 37F, have 2 kids with my husband, 41 meters, a 14-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. Our daughter has always been a little socially awkward to the point that we've had her tested since we suspected her of being on the spectrum. Turns out she isn't on the spectrum, she's just a natural introvert. However, this year in school we were thrilled when our daughter made a new friend her age, since that is an area in which she struggles. Long story short, she recently invited her new friend over, with our approval, to have dinner at our house and then spend the night. So, my daughter's friend came over. My husband is usually the cook in the family, and this night was no exception. He made us all a really nice meal. During the course of said meal I asked my daughter's friend, "Are you enjoying the food?" She responded, "Yes. Your husband is a great cook. No wonder you've ended up a bigger woman." The room got quiet for several moments. My husband tried to laugh it off and change the subject, but I wasn't having it. The girl had just leveled a completely uncalled for insult at me. My daughter's friend seemed to realize that she'd messed up, but she didn't say anything else. We finished an awkward dinner in mostly silence, and my daughter's friend did stay the night. This was a couple of months ago. Recently my daughter asked if she could have her friend back over, and I told her sure, if she's going to apologize to me. When our daughter asked what I meant, I reminded her of what she'd said. My daughter responded that it was over and she didn't want to bring it up again. She then went to her father and asked. He said sure, but she then told him what I'd said. He came to me and said, "Daughter's friend / just felt awkward and tried to make a joke. It didn't land. For the sake of our daughter, can't you just let it go?" Yes, I could, but the thing is that I just want an apology from the girl. I need to see that she understands how rude she was before I can get on board with her and me daughter hanging out. My husband says that I am being weird for insisting on an apology from a 14-year-old, especially since that girl is such a good friend of our daughter. I think it's weird that I'm still waiting for an apology from that same girl. Seriously. That's all I need. I just need to know that any friend of my daughter is willing to own up to her screw-ups. My husband has been working really hard the last 2 years to advance at his company, and he finally got the promotion he's been after. I'm really proud of him. His parents are too and wanted to take us all out to dinner to celebrate. My husband absolutely loves prime rib, and there's only one place in our area that serves it, so he picked that restaurant. Thing is, I'm not fond of steak. I'll eat it but very rarely. I prefer chicken or fish. I looked up the menu before leaving, and right now they have a limited menu. The place had only 1 fish entree and 2 chicken entrees, and none of them sounded good for various reasons. I suggested that he pick someplace else so everyone can eat. He refused, citing that we rarely get to go to this place but go to other places in our area regularly, which is true, but those places have lots of variety so everyone can eat. He suggested that I ask if they could prepare the fish or chicken without the marinades or sauces, but I didn't want to be difficult for the kitchen staff. His next suggestion was that I order dessert while everyone else ate entrees, and then when we were done, he would take me where I wanted so I could eat dinner while he and the kids ate dessert. So I opted to just not go because I didn't want to sit there not eating and not having a good time while everyone else was. My husband asked me to go so he could celebrate with the people most important to him. I told him no again and that he needed to get going before he was late. He did go but came back a little over an hour later with the kids and they all had to-go boxes. He said he couldn't think of what to tell the kids about why I didn't go when they kept asking without lying or making me sound bad, so he just got an order for them to go and let the kids spend some time with their grandparents talking in the parking lot. I told him he should have stayed, but he said that I put him in a bad spot with the kids and that I knew he wanted everyone there and that I should have just gotten over my picky eating for one night. I maintain if he really wanted us to all eat dinner as a family, then he should have picked a restaurant with a more accommodating menu. Ada? Update: some of these comments were pretty harsh but a kick in the pants. I've apologized profusely to my husband and I am going to take him to that restaurant this weekend and buy him some camping gear he's been eyeing as a start to making it up to him and changing course. If I'm the here, I'll own it. I'm not sorry, but like it would be good to know because the rest of my family thinks this went too far. My 24F mom died when I was 7 from leukemia. I have very few memories of her from before she was sick and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her in her last year, but she was an artist and until she couldn't anymore she would make me little collages when she was in the hospital with drawings and photos and messages for me. My grandmother put them all in a book for me after she died. I wanted to be like my mom and my counselor thought it would help, so I started a journal where I would do kind of a similar thing and I've done at least one page a week all these years ever since my mom died. More when I miss her or have something hard going on. So, I have kind of a unique record of my mental state over the last 16 years. My father remarried when I was 9. My stepmother really leaned hard into the "I'm your mom now" and my father didn't stop her. It improved when they had my half-brother because she basically forgot about me then. Unfortunately he got cancer when he was 3. And I pretty much ceased to exist for my father. He was either working or gone with my brother and I spent all my teen years mostly at home alone or with my grandparents. The mantra was that my brother needed to be the focus because he might die, so I needed to not be selfish since I was healthy. I stopped trying to talk to him when I was 16 and it was a dark time. I moved out when I was 18 and cut them off completely. My grandparents let me know that my brother died a couple of years ago but respected my desire to remain NC with my father. He recently reached out to them because he wants to see me and talk. I went through my old journals and made him a PowerPoint with images of the entries where I had talked about being frustrated and feeling abandoned and unwanted, some with literal quotes of things my dad had said to me during arguments. Even the really dark stuff from when I was seriously depressed. Then I ended it with a photo of one of my mom's collages where she had written, "Remember that your dad and I are always here for you," and I wrote, "You failed. Go away." Underneath. I felt like him being able to see it from my literal perspective would communicate why I don't want him back better than I could. Evidently it worked, but a little too well because I've been bombarded by family telling me that it's understandable that I don't want to see him, but what I sent gutted him and he's completely fallen apart after reading through it and it was unnecessarily cruel. Maybe it was, I know my bar for that is kind of weird sometimes, so Ada? Edit, a couple of follow-up notes, since it came up the comments. 1. I loved my brother. I don't resent him. He was a good kid and I wish he was still with us. None of this is his fault, to me it is completely my father's and to a lesser extent stepmother's. The parents prevented me from spending time with him as he got sicker, so I wouldn't have been allowed to be there for him even if I had been able to, which I wasn't towards the end because I was also struggling to stay alive. 2. I have empathy. I understand what my father lost, I was there. I also lost those same people plus effectively my father. Even so, to me there is no excuse for completely shutting your own kid completely out of your life while also preventing them from getting any kind of help. I understand depression and freezing up, I've been there, and I still, even not being an adult, managed to consider the impact of my behavior on other people. If he was that bad off, he should have given me up to be raised by someone else. My mom's parents asked and he wouldn't agree to let me stay with them full time. I could have had a dad that was able to occasionally tell me he loved me even if it was just a text message. Alternatively, I could have lived with my grandparents and had people around me who cared about me every day even if that wasn't my father. I got neither and every request for help of any kind was met with "suck it up." I can empathize with having to function while breaking down inside, but I can't empathize with what he did. 3. I gather from relatives, who have backed off after some hard boundary setting, that my father and stepmother split not long ago and are in divorce proceedings, which is why he reached out now and why the rest of the family was upset with how I responded at the time. He wasn't in a good place already. I've told them that if they care about him to encourage him to keep away from me, refuse to pass on any messages, and try to get him into inpatient care or something if they're that worried he's going to do something rash. I don't want anything to do with him and I've told them that I don't want to hear about anything that happens after this point, but the rest of his family love him, so for their sake I hope he pulls himself together. My mom has a tradition for every Christmas and that is to get custom stockings of her grandchildren's names, Cody, Mia, Sammy, Alina ... etc., and hang those stockings near the fireplace. My wife and I have been together for 3 years. She has a son, my step-kid, from her former marriage. When she found out about the tradition Mom has, she said she expects my stepson to get his own custom stocking and be hanged along with the other kids' stockings. I asked my mom and she said that she loves her step-grandchild but does not feel comfortable yet to have a stocking of his name and gang it in her home. Apparently, my wife refused to drop it and chose it as a hill to die on and even told me she would not be attending Christmas party if Mom doesn't do it. We started arguing about it for days. I finally blew up and told her it was not reasonable for me or her to dictate how my mom decorates her home and what stockings she hangs. She started crying and called me blind for not seeing how my family are treating my stepson. I said they love him and some stocking isn't going to prove anything. She said she wouldn't go then and I called her ridiculous for deciding not to go over something so trivial. We have been in conflict about it since then and she's refusing to even speak to me. Ada for saying that it was ridiculous for her to decide not to go over some stockings. My stepson's age is 9.